In July of 2016, the fuse is lit on a human ticking time bomb. Kevin Ewing is allowed to post bond for his crimes, despite the horrible violence he's repeatedly inflicted on his wife, Tierne.
His family was able to obtain a bail bondsman that allowed them to free him from jail on 5% of that. So the family put up $5,000 to get him out of jail.
In an irony particular to cases of domestic abuse, Ewing is allowed to live relatively free until trial. His wife, on the other hand, is living in fear, seeking safety in a women's shelter.
The victims are being treated like the criminals. They put them in safe houses. And you know what? They find them every time.
Despite a court order forbidding him from contacting Tierne and an ankle bracelet to monitor his every movement, the fatal attraction of Kevin and Tierne drew them back together yet again. Tierne's sister tells our special correspondent Kim Goldman she believes it was an act of selfless courage.
So what struck me is that your sister ended up in the house with Kevin and his mom. Do you know why she ended up there?
I believe she was there to protect her family. I honestly believe that. I'm not saying that in some sick, twisted way of being manipulated for years that maybe she didn't have some sort of love, whether it be a twisted love or the only love you knew. I think the top priority was to keep everyone safe. And she didn't want anybody else drug into this with her.
Do we have any inclination as to why she may have gone?
The only thing I can tell you is that she was convinced that she had to stay near him to protect her family members.
Tierne was a tough girl. She was not going to go out there and look for help. She felt like she could handle it and that she could make it right and keep her family together.
Her father, Rich, has another theory. Kevin's attorneys warned their client that he was in serious trouble for his latest assault on Tierne.
Said to him, "You're looking at 20 years to life." And he always told me, I ain't never going back to jail.
At midnight on August 30th, Kevin Ewing began the final chapter in this ill-fated romance.
The Pennsylvania State Police received a call from Rosalie Riggle, which is Kevin Ewing's mother, and she advised that Kevin had been in the house with a gun holding them hostage in the basement of the house. He had cut off his ankle monitor and took Tierne and put her in the car, and they left the house.
I received the call at about 5:30 a.m. that he had taken her, and that's when I knew there wasn't going to be a happy ending.
I got a phone call at work at about 5 after 6, and was told that she had been taken again. And my first thought was, he's gonna kill her.
And she said he has her, and I knew then she wouldn't be coming home. I knew it was gonna be all over.
That morning, there was probably 6 police cars in the driveway, and they came in and they wanted us to leave because they were afraid he was coming after us.
Did they tell you why they were coming to the house?
They just said that they were here because they knew that he had threatened to kill us. He said, "Rich, I think you better leave." And we're not leaving. This is my house.
We had worked the case all day and hadn't had any luck in locating them.
That afternoon, a local farmer spots something unusual in a remote field.
He noticed in a barn located in the field that there was a pair of blue jeans hanging out the window.
It could be nothing, but police decide to check it out. The moment they arrive on scene, they're greeted by screams and gunshots.
They heard the initial shot. They heard a female voice say, "Why'd you have to shoot me?" And they heard the second shot. They heard a man's voice yell, "Get out of here." And then they heard the third shot.
Tierne is held in the loft of the old barn. Police make their way inside, confirming the family's worst fears.
We realized that the first shot that they heard, he had shot her in the forehead. And a .22 caliber, it's not a very powerful gun, and that bullet actually didn't penetrate her skull. It just kind of traveled between her skull and her skin to the back of her head. However, after she exclaimed, "Why'd you have to shoot me?" He shot her again in the temple. That shot did penetrate her skull and caused her death.
Kevin saved the last shot for his own temple. But incredibly, cops find him still alive.
They performed some life-saving measures on him. They were able to get him into a helicopter and transferred to a Pittsburgh hospital where he remained alive for a couple of days.
Kevin finally succumbs to his cowardly self-inflicted wound.
I've chased him so many times. I said I knew every inch of that property or that area out there except that barn. I did not know that barn was back there, because if I did, I would have been there.
With my brother's murder, I became very close with the prosecutors in my case, and I knew how much they took home with them. I mean, I could see it on your face. Like I can't even imagine when you're so close to keeping somebody safe and trying so hard to fight for them. What goes through
It's
your
the hardest
mind?
thing that's ever happened to me since I took this job. Can we take a break?
I can't help but think that the system and the judge.
The judge.
The judge killed my daughter. The judge killed my daughter.
Crime Watch Daily reached out to Judge Gary Gilman for his response to Tierney's parents' allegations and got a brief no comment. But State Senator Camera Bartolotta was so moved by Tierney's story that she introduced domestic violence legislation in the victim's name.
With this bill, it would actually give our judges more tools to use in determining whether or not to even set bail, and to be able to use their discretion and deny bail if they believe that the risk assessment is high enough that there might even be a potential of a dangerous situation for a victim.
Kim Goldman broke the news of this promising legislation to Tierney's devastated parents.
It will be called Tierney's Law. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lord. At least we helped her in some way.
It's a glimmer of hope that other victims of domestic abuse might experience a different fate.
I've been wanting to give you a hug this whole time.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.